Good afternoon, creative campers. I hope you are feeling creative today because today is your illustration session. So, hi everybody, and I want to say I've really enjoyed reading your character descriptions and all of your stories that you've written so far. It's been really lovely to see the work that you've been producing. It's very creative. So, let's get started on today's session. My name is Leona and I am the illustrator of the Ecoheroes book series. So you can see here I am in my home studio, and this is where I create all of the illustrations and do all my art and design work. So a little bit about me first. As I said, my name is Leona. I set up the company Colette started the company Save Our World, and I joined her to create the books, the Ecoheroes. And I have illustrated all of the books, but I have also done all of the design layouts, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later. I've also created, drawn and created the cover designs for all of the books as well. So there's a lot of design and illustration, of course, because they're children's books. So it's a very important aspect of children's books is, of course, the drawings. So let me pop my phone here, the camera here, so I can show you a little bit more about my design process. Okay, can you see me? Okay, good. So like I said, I've been living in Dubai for a long time, for 16 years now, and I have two children as well, a daughter and a son, aged 11 and 12. So when we started the books maybe 2-3 years ago, they were a little bit younger, probably the ideal readership as well for the books. So some of the characters are actually inspired partly by my children as well as Colette's children. So it's interesting because you do have to draw on the real world around you as well as your imagination, of course, in your writing, but also in your drawing and illustrations. So let me tell you that I've always been a designer. I'm actually a fashion and textiles graduate. But I've always done drawing in different aspects. Some of it has been for fashion, some of it has been graphic design, but I've done all sorts for interiors, fashion, graphics, art exhibitions. So it always involves imagery, creating imagery, patterns, illustrations, drawing and painting. So, okay, that's a little bit about me. Let me show you my creative process. It's very low tech to begin with, so you don't need to be intimidated and think. A lot of the kids, when we go to the schools and I say who likes to draw and who thinks they're good at drawing, and a lot of you might think that you can't draw. Well, I don't believe that. I think that everybody is creative. You just have to find that exact niche, that thing that works for you, what your spark is. And I'm here today to show you some tips and tricks about how you can illustrate your own Ecoheroes, because that's what today's session is going to be essentially about, the first part, or for the younger group anyway. So yeah, my drawings always start in sketchbooks, just with pencils and paper, just like you guys. Yeah, so it's not a great mystery. Okay, this is the very first sketch I did of Ahmed. Okay, so you can see all of the Ecoheroes just here behind me. Can you see them? Actually, I'll show you there. Okay, so that's better. So that was kind of that's the finished look of the Ecoheroes. Okay, but I think it's really important to show you that this is how it started. Okay. So with the basic sketch, that was actually the very first sketch as well for the first cover of Recycling Trick Trouble. So again, that's the very first sketch of the cover, and that's the finished product. Okay, so it's It's a bit of a journey, but the starting point is very, very achievable for you guys, okay? Everybody can draw, and I am going to show you very quickly how I started. Yeah, and I make lots of mistakes. I use pencil, sometimes pen, just on paper. Then I work out roughly kind of what it is that I want to draw. I might make notes, scribbles, I test colours beside it before I paint them in. Sometimes I use markers, but I usually use water-based paints like poster paints or gouache, okay? So that's how I start. This is the sketchbook for books 2 and 3. So here are some of the pages from Fight for Food. Okay, that was the second book. I really love drawing this one. Okay, there's beautiful colors in it. Now this page is interesting because you can see how it's just unfinished drawings, okay, unfinished sketches. And all of these, sometimes an image or an illustration is fully formed, an idea that you can already picture in your head. But a lot of the time it's not. You just have one part, you think you know what one character is going to look like, you think maybe a little bit of the background, what it looks like. And a lot of the drawings are like this as separate parts on a page in my sketchbook, and then afterwards I do use design software like Photoshop, and I cut and paste them together and create the overall scene. Okay, so I will show you that later, a finished layout in one of the books as well. Okay, so that's my design process. It's very, very straightforward and simple. As you can see, I work with pencil and paper, and then I start to sketch out ideas. I make a lot of mistakes along the way, so I think that's a really important thing to say, because it is a part of the process. You learn, you just keep practicing, and then you put things together better as you go along. Okay, so would you like to see me draw one of the Ecoheroes? Yeah, I think I will start that just now. Okay, so I'm going to draw on my board here. Today I've decided that I'll show you how to draw Ahmed, and I want you to think about your basic shapes, okay? When you see the illustrations, you think that they look very complicated to begin with, but just break it down into simple shapes and it's very easy, okay? So you do your circle, your triangle, your rectangle or square, and then different lines, straight lines, curvy lines, okay? That's all the drawings come from those basic elements, okay? So let's start with a circle for his head, okay? We all know that. I just paused to go get a finished picture of Ahmed so you can compare. So you can see basically, generally, the shape of his head is round. It's a circle. Then this shape, it's kind of like a rectangle, but it's a bit rounded at the top. So some people say a rectangle, some people say a triangle. It's actually a combination of the two. You just curve it here, It's a bit wider at the bottom. You see that? Okay. Now if we look at his gutra, okay, just do one line here and another line parallel to that. Do a squiggly line here, okay, and a few lines in between for the folds. This one is a triangle and a triangle. 1, 2 triangles. Now his ear, I'm going to just alter the shape of the circle for his head so that you can see more his jawline, and then it goes down into his neck. This side, just a curve like this, and it goes down to the back of his neck. A curved line here for the neckline. Okay, one curve here, one curve parallel, join them. His other arm comes here. Again, another line there. Now hands are quite difficult to draw, and I'll talk about that. I'll do a little demo if I've got time later to show you a shortcut and a good trick to draw hands. But here, you don't see his hands. It's actually quite a very basic shape. It's just a suggestion. You just have the line of his pocket. You can even put some stitches in there for his pocket if you want to. And his hand is inside his pocket, okay? So, shapes for his eyes, circles. So 1, 2, and another circle inside that. And another circle inside that. And I always leave a little dot of white, a little circle of white in the middle of the eyes because that's the light reflecting, okay? Just a little letter C for his nose. And a nice curve for his smile, okay? So his feet, one is pointing this way. So it's like a long triangle. The other one is like a flattened circle, okay? And again, you just soften the lines, okay? Join his shoelaces, okay? Sole of his shoe, and his other hands there, okay? Okay, now that's a very quick, rough sketch, and obviously I've shown you my sketchbooks. That's how they always start, okay? And then you can work into it some more, and do not worry if you get a line wrong here or a line wrong here. You can see how I've overdrawn the lines and made them stronger. Now you don't have to use marker because of course you can't erase that line then, so it's probably better if you use the pencil to get started, because then when you've done your trace outlines, you know, your beginning lines and your basic shapes, then you can erase any of those lines that you want to draw over again later, okay? And tidy it up a bit, okay? So that's Ahmed. So for this group that's going to draw their Ecohero today, and as an extension if you want a further challenge, I'm going to give you some quick tips about how to create different facial expressions, okay? And it's actually really quick and simple, okay? Easier than you think. Believe it or not, your eyebrows are one of the most expressive parts of your face, okay? They're really important when you learn to draw faces and create facial expressions. So for example, can you see that? Okay. Okay, maybe let me move in a little bit closer so you can see that face. Okay, so that's just a normal smiley face, quite happy. If you want to go like they are laughing, maybe the eyes will turn into little arched lines like that. Then you would have an open smile like that, and the eyebrows would go higher up, okay? If you want to create an angry face, okay, so let's take this face as our start. How would you make that face angry? Let's see. You can take the same basic eyes, nose, okay? Now the eyebrows are very important in this one because your eyebrows point into the center, and you can see they're looking quite angry, and you can actually maybe put the eyes into more like slits, okay? And then you can do the mouth like that. You can even bare teeth like that, okay? So you can see how the eyebrows are really important there. If you want to do a surprised face, it would be like really wide circles for the eyes and a big O for the mouth, and the eyebrows are really high, sometimes they can even go off the face because it's your cartoon, and if you want to do that, you can do that. It's your illustration. Yeah, so you can really exaggerate that. If you want to draw a sad face, let's have a look. The eyebrows go in the opposite direction. So let's start here again. Okay, you can see, and your eyes can follow that shape, and obviously we all know how to draw a frown. Okay, and of course you can do tears as well. Okay, so there's lots of ways that you can quickly change the expressions of your face, and all these things work with just doing dots for the eyes, but also if the eyes were like Ahmed's as well. Okay, angry, surprised, sad, then usually your pupils would be downcast, looking down. Okay, so there you go, some quick tips on how to do facial expressions.